The words came out of her mouth like venom. "You're the family disappointment." My sister said it loud enough for everyone at the table to hear. My parents. My brother. Her husband. The entire upscale restaurant seemed to go quiet. Or maybe that was just in my head. We were celebrating my father's 60th birthday at one of the most expensive restaurants in downtown Chicago. White tablecloths. Crystal glasses. A prix fixe menu that cost more per person than most people's weekly grocery bill. I'd been sitting quietly, sipping my water, trying to stay out of the conversation. But my sister, Rebecca, had other plans. "I mean, look at you," she continued, gesturing at me with her wine glass. 32 years old. No stable career. No husband. No kids. Still renting that tiny apartment. What have you actually accomplished? My mother shifted uncomfortably. "Rebecca, that's enough." "It's not enough," Rebecca said, her voice sharp. "We all tiptoe around it, but someone needs to say it. She's wasting her life. And honestly, it's embarrassing." I felt heat creep up my neck. My hands clenched in my lap. But I didn't respond. I'd learned years ago that fighting with Rebecca was pointless. She always had to win. Always had to be right. My father cleared his throat. "Let's not do this tonight. It's my birthday. Can we please just enjoy dinner?" Rebecca rolled her eyes. "Fine. But I'm just saying what everyone's thinking." The table fell silent. My brother stared at his plate. Rebecca's husband looked uncomfortable. My mother dabbed her eyes with her napkin. And I sat there, feeling smaller and smaller with every passing second. The waiter approached our table, a polite smile on his face. "Are we ready to order?" Rebecca immediately launched into her order. Appetizer. Entree. The most expensive wine on the menu. Everyone else followed suit. When it was my turn, I ordered the cheapest thing on the menu. Because I had a feeling I knew what was coming. Dinner was excruciating. Rebecca dominated the conversation, talking about her perfect life. Her high-paying job as a corporate lawyer. Her beautiful house in the suburbs. Her 2 kids who were enrolled in private school. Her husband's recent promotion. "We're actually thinking about buying a vacation home in Aspen," she said, swirling her wine. "We've been looking at properties all month." My mother smiled, impressed. "That sounds wonderful, sweetheart." "It is," Rebecca said. Then she glanced at me. "Maybe when you finally get your life together, you can come visit us there." I said nothing. I just cut into my salmon and took another bite. My brother, Kevin, tried to change the subject. "So, Dad, any big plans for your retirement next year?" My father started talking about travel plans. Europe. Asia. Places he and my mother had always wanted to see. I listened quietly, letting the conversation flow around me. But Rebecca wasn't done with me yet. "You know what's sad," she said suddenly, looking directly at me. "I've been supporting you for years. We all have. And you've never once shown any gratitude." I looked up. "What are you talking about?" "Don't play dumb," she said. "The money Mom and Dad have given you over the years. The loans they've forgiven. The rent they've helped you pay. You act like you're independent, but you're not. You're a burden." My chest tightened. "I've never asked them for anything." "They gave it to you anyway," Rebecca said. "Because they feel sorry for you. Because they're embarrassed that their youngest daughter is a failure." "Rebecca," my father said sharply. "That's enough." "Is it?" Rebecca challenged. "When is she going to take responsibility for her life? When is she going to stop being a disappointment?" The table went silent again. And then the waiter appeared with the check. He placed it in the center of the table. My father reached for it, but Rebecca grabbed it first. She looked at the total. Then she looked at me. And smiled. "Actually," Rebecca said, sliding the check across the table toward me, "I think it's time you started contributing. You should pay for dinner tonight." I stared at her. "What?" "You heard me," she said. "You always take and never give. So tonight, you're going to give. Pay for Dad's birthday dinner." My heart started racing. "Rebecca, I can't afford this. You know that." Maybe you should have thought about that before wasting your life, she said coldly. I looked at my parents. Are you seriously going to let her do this? My mother looked away. My father said nothing. Kevin spoke up. Come on, Rebecca. That's not fair. Life's not fair, Rebecca shot back. And she needs to learn that. I looked down at the check. $473. Nearly half my rent. Money I didn't have. Money I couldn't spare. I'm not paying this, I said quietly. Rebecca's eyes narrowed. Yes, you are. No, I said, my voice stronger now. I'm not. You ordered the most expensive items on the menu. You chose this restaurant. You don't get to stick me with the bill. Then I guess everyone's going to know you're not just a disappointment, but also cheap, Rebecca said. Something inside me snapped. I reached into my bag and pulled out an envelope. I'd been carrying it for 3 weeks, waiting for the right moment. I hadn't planned to do this tonight, but Rebecca had pushed me too far. I placed the envelope on the table. Before I leave, I said calmly, there's something everyone should see. My father frowned. What is that? Open it, I said. Rebecca laughed. What? Did you finally get a participation trophy? I didn't respond. I just waited. My father picked up the envelope, opened it, and pulled out the documents inside. His face went pale. My mother leaned over to look. Her hand flew to her mouth. Kevin's eyes widened, and Rebecca's smug smile started to fade. What is this? My father asked, his voice shaking. Those, I said, are the financial records for the past 10 years, showing every dollar Mom and Dad gave to their children. Rebecca's face went white. Where did you get those? Mom asked me to help organize their financial documents last month, I said. She wanted everything digitized for their accountant. So I did. And while I was doing it, I found something interesting. My father was flipping through the pages, his expression growing darker with each one. According to those records, I continued, over the past 10 years, Mom and Dad have given Rebecca a total of $347,000. The table went dead silent. That's not true, Rebecca said quickly. It is true, I said. Down payment on your house. $120,000. Law school loans they paid off. $85,000. The car they bought you. $42,000. Wedding costs. $50,000. And various other expenses over the years. It's all documented. My mother was crying now. My father looked devastated. They gave you money because I needed it, Rebecca said defensively. I was building a life. I was investing in my future. And Kevin, I continued, ignoring her, received $212,000 over the same period. Business loans, rent assistance, medical bills, all paid by Mom and Dad. Kevin looked down at his hands, his face red. And me? I said, my voice steady. I received $18,000. Total. Over 10 years. Most of it for emergency medical expenses when I was in a car accident 5 years ago. Expenses I've been paying back. Every single month. With interest. I pulled out another sheet of paper and placed it on the table. Here's my payment history. $18,000 borrowed. $14,000 paid back so far. $4,000 left to go. I've never missed a payment. Rebecca's jaw clenched. This is ridiculous. Is it? I asked. Because you just called me a burden. You said I take and never give. But the numbers tell a different story. My father set the documents down slowly. His hands were trembling. He looked at Rebecca, then at Kevin, then at me. I didn't know you were paying it back, he said quietly. I insisted on it, I said. Because I didn't want to be a burden. Because I wanted to take care of myself. Even when it was hard. Even when I was struggling. My mother wiped her tears. Sweetheart, you didn't have to do that. Yes, I did, I said. Because I have pride. Because I have integrity. Because I don't take things I haven't earned. Rebecca's face was flushed now, her composure cracking. This is a private family matter. You had no right to bring this up here. You made it public when you humiliated me in front of everyone, I shot back. You called me a disappointment. You said I was a burden. You tried to force me to pay for a dinner I can't afford. So, yes, I'm making this public too. My father looked at Rebecca. You told me you paid for the house yourself. You said you'd saved up for the down payment. Rebecca opened her mouth, then closed it. And you, he said, turning to Kevin, told me your business was self-funded. Kevin said nothing. You both lied to me, my father said, his voice breaking. You took our money, and then you lied about it. We didn't lie, Rebecca said desperately. We just didn't tell you the whole truth. That's called lying, I said flatly. Rebecca turned on me, her eyes blazing. You self-righteous. I'm not self-righteous, I interrupted. I'm honest. There's a difference. The waiter appeared again, looking uncomfortable. Is everything all right here? My father picked up the check. His hands were still shaking. I'll take care of this. No, I said. Let Rebecca pay. Since she's so successful. Since she has so much money. Since she loves reminding everyone how well she's doing. Rebecca's face went red. I'm not paying for everyone's dinner. Why not? I asked. You can afford it, right? Or is all that success just funded by mom and dad? The silence that followed was deafening. Rebecca sat there, her mouth opening and closing like a fish. Her husband looked mortified. Kevin stared at his plate. My parents looked heartbroken. You know what? Rebecca finally said, grabbing her purse. I'm done with this. I'm not sitting here and being attacked. No one's attacking you, I said calmly. I'm just telling the truth. Something you clearly have a problem with. She stood up, her chair scraping loudly against the floor. You've always been jealous of me. Always. Because I made something of myself and you didn't. You made something of yourself with mom and dad's money, I corrected. There's a difference. At least I had ambition, she hissed. At least I tried. I tried too, I said, my voice rising. I worked 3 jobs to put myself through college. I graduated with no debt. I've been building my career from the ground up with no help. Everything I have, I earned. Can you say the same? Rebecca's face twisted with rage. You're pathetic. And you're a liar, I said. And a hypocrite. And a bully. Enough, my father said, his voice firm. Both of you. Enough. But I wasn't done. You want to know why I don't have a fancy house or a fancy car or a fancy life? I said, standing up to face her. It's because I refuse to live beyond my means. I refuse to take money I haven't earned. I refuse to build a life on someone else's sacrifice. Rebecca's eyes filled with angry tears. You think you're so much better than me. I don't, I said. But I'm not worse. And I'm done letting you treat me like I am. She stared at me for a long moment. Then she grabbed her husband's arm. We're leaving. Rebecca, my mother said weakly. But Rebecca was already walking away, her heels clicking against the restaurant floor. Her husband threw an apologetic look back at us before following her out. The table sat in stunned silence. Kevin cleared his throat. I should probably go too. My father looked at him. Sit down. Kevin hesitated, then sat. My father picked up the documents again, studying them carefully. Then he looked at me. Why didn't you tell us you were paying us back? Because you told me not to worry about it, I said. You said it was a gift. But I couldn't accept that. So I set up automatic payments. I've been sending you $250 every month for the past 5 years. My mother's tears flowed freely now. We thought you were struggling. I was struggling, I admitted. But I was managing. I didn't need handouts. I needed to know I could take care of myself. My father set the papers down and looked at Kevin. And you? Kevin shifted uncomfortably. I was going to pay you back. The business has been slower than expected. You told me it was thriving, my father said. I didn't want to worry you, Kevin mumbled. My father's jaw tightened. So you lied. Kevin didn't respond. My father turned back to me. I owe you an apology. We both do. He looked at my mother. We've been enablers. We gave your sister and brother everything they asked for, and we never held them accountable. And in the process, We made you feel like you weren't enough. You were enough, my mother said, reaching across the table to take my hand. You've always been enough. We're so proud of you. We just didn't know how to show it. I felt tears prick my eyes. You could have defended me. Tonight, when Rebecca was attacking me, you just sat there. My father looked ashamed. You're right. And I'm sorry. I should have stood up for you. We should have, my mother added. We were wrong. And we're going to do better. I nodded, not trusting myself to speak. The waiter appeared again. Sir, about the check. My father pulled out his credit card. I'll take care of it. And add a generous tip. We've caused enough disruption tonight. After dinner, we walked out of the restaurant together. The night air was cool, refreshing after the stifling tension inside. We stood on the sidewalk, none of us quite ready to leave yet. What happens now? Kevin asked quietly. My father looked at him. Now, you start paying us back. Both you and Rebecca. We're setting up payment plans. No more free rides. Kevin's eyes widened. Dad, I can't afford. Then you figure it out, my father said firmly. You took the money. You pay it back. That's how loans work. Kevin looked like he wanted to argue, but he didn't. He just nodded. My mother turned to me. Will you come over this weekend? I'd like to talk. Just the three of us. I hesitated. Part of me wanted to say no. Part of me wanted to keep my distance. But another part, the part that still loved my parents despite everything, couldn't refuse. Okay, I said. I'll come over. She hugged me tight. I love you so much. I'm so sorry for everything. I hugged her back. I love you too. My father hugged me next. You're not a disappointment. You never were. You're the strongest one of all of us. I felt tears slip down my cheeks. Thank you. We said our goodbyes. Kevin left first, his shoulders slumped. My parents headed to their car. I stood there for a moment, taking it all in. My phone buzzed. A text from Rebecca. You humiliated me. I'll never forgive you for this. I stared at the message. Then I typed back. You humiliated yourself. I just told the truth. I blocked her number. Then I walked to my car, got in, and sat there in the quiet darkness. I felt exhausted, emotionally drained, but also lighter. Like I'd been carrying a weight for years and had finally set it down. I'd stood up for myself. I'd told the truth. I'd refused to be a victim. And it felt incredible. The next few weeks were strange. My parents followed through on their promise. They sat down with Rebecca and Kevin and laid out payment plans. Rebecca was furious. She threatened to cut them off, to keep the grandkids away. But my father stood firm. You pay us back, or we're done enabling you, he told her. Rebecca tried to turn my mother against him. But my mother, for the first time in years, stood by my father's side. Kevin was more cooperative. He admitted he'd been living beyond his means, trying to impress people, trying to maintain an image. He agreed to the payment plan and started making changes in his life. As for me, life continued. I kept working, kept paying my bills, kept living within my means. But something had shifted. My parents started treating me differently. With respect. With admiration. They called me more often. Invited me over for dinner. Asked about my life, my goals, my dreams. We took you for granted, my mother said one evening over coffee. We assumed you'd always be okay because you never complained. But that wasn't fair to you. I didn't want to be a burden, I said. You were never a burden, she said. You were a blessing. And we should have told you that more often. My father started asking my advice on financial matters. He respected my opinion. He valued my input. For the first time in my life, I felt like they saw me. Really saw me. Rebecca, on the other hand, cut off contact with all of us. She refused to pay back the money. She refused to acknowledge any wrongdoing. She painted herself as the victim on social media, posting vague messages about toxic family members and betrayal. Some people believed her. Others saw through it. I didn't engage. I didn't respond. I just moved on. Because the truth had already been told. And that was enough. 3 months after the dinner, I got a promotion at work. A significant one. More responsibility. More pay. More recognition. I called my parents to tell them. They were ecstatic. "We're so proud of you," my mother said, her voice thick with emotion. So proud. "Let's celebrate," my father said. "Dinner this weekend. Anywhere you want." I smiled. Somewhere with reasonable prices this time. They laughed. And for the first time in years, it felt genuine. Warm. Real. That weekend, we had dinner at a small Italian restaurant. Just the three of us. No tension. No drama. No performances. Just family. My father raised his glass. To our daughter. The one who never gave up. The one who showed us what real strength looks like. We clinked glasses. And I felt a warmth in my chest that I hadn't felt in a long time. 6 months later, Rebecca reached out. A short email. No apology. Just an invitation to her daughter's birthday party. I declined. Not out of spite. Not out of anger. But because I'd learned something important that night at the restaurant. You don't owe anyone your presence. You don't owe anyone forgiveness. You don't owe anyone a relationship that costs you your peace. Rebecca had spent years making me feel small. Making me feel like I wasn't enough. And I'd finally broken free from that. I wasn't going back. So if you're in a similar situation, if someone in your family is tearing you down, making you feel worthless, treating you like a burden, remember this. Your worth isn't determined by their opinion. Your success isn't measured by their standards. And you have every right to stand up for yourself. Even if it costs you relationships. Even if it causes conflict. Even if people call you selfish or bitter or ungrateful. Because at the end of the day, the truth matters. Your dignity matters. And you deserve better. If this story resonated with you, hit that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching.